Hey guys, Smatterchu here, and we're going to do another Pew 2A type video. Just something that I have noticed on one of my firearms. So anytime we do one of these videos, we want to start out with reading the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, before I pull this down, and I'm going to make another little panel here to go over, I thought it would be a good idea to go over the 4 basic rules um, whenever handling or dealing with a firearm. And I thought that would be a good addition to the platform and any content that I put on this platform or whichever one it gets uploaded to. The basic 4 rules dealing with the firearms: treat all guns as if they are loaded. Keep your finger off the trigger. Never cover or point the gun in a direction unless you're willing to destroy what's at the other end of the barrel. And know your target and what is beyond that target. I am Spatterchew. I am your host, and this video is brought to you by my fat ass. I don't have any sponsors. I do this purely for my own enjoyment and entertainment, and hopefully you can get a little something out of it as well. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about, and I titled the video, this is my 357 Taurus, and so I'm going to bring it up on screen here. So this is my 357 Taurus, model 650. As you can see, the rounds have been ejected from the cylinder. So this weapon is perfectly safe to handle. But again, following with those 4 rules, keep our fingers off the trigger, always point it in a safe direction. We're going to treat it as if it's loaded. And then if I were to be firing it, we need to be aware of what I'm firing at, what's behind it, know your target and what's behind it. This was not actually my choice. I did want a wheel gun. This is the only, this is the only wheel gun I own. All the others are semi-automatic or single shot. So this is a good addition to my collection. But one of the problems that I have with it, if I'm just shooting 38 special, it's perfectly fine. But if I actually shoot the 357 Magnum, which it's chambered in, so you can shoot either or, for those of you who don't know, if you have a 357 wheel gun, you can safely shoot 38 special. Same diameter, a little bit shorter bullet, not nearly as much pressure, won't have as much kick. In fact, it's probably a good training aid to practice with the 38 special. Just don't be so unfamiliar with 357 that it throws you off when you actually go to use the 357. Or if you choose to carry 38 as your, primary caliber of choice, or if that's the round you want to use, then that's what you should practice with and stick with it. Then, I don't have a lot of issues with this gun. It's a snub nose. It's not very accurate up past 5-7 yards. This is for up close and personal. This is a backup gun at best. It's definitely a decent enough caliber, but it doesn't have a barrel length on it long enough to generate enough velocity and doesn't have enough time in the barrel to remain accurate out past a certain point. So it's definitely not something that you would consider trying to address a target out 15, 20, 25 yards with a snub nose like this. So, but this is the only wheel gun I have. And it was one of those I kind of came across a deal I couldn't refuse. And so I do like it, but only while firing 38 special. And here's why. So if you look, and generally a lot of the snub nose are like this. But this one, the 650, has had the hammer. The hammer is no longer there. It's not been bobbed. It's just internal. All the hammer mechanism is internal. So this is the CIA type version, which is designed to be a pocket gun. So, and I think I may have a holster for it somewhere that's actually designed to go in your pocket, and so that it covers the trigger guard or in that area to make it safe to carry as a pocket gun. And that is fine. It does make it relatively easy. It's small enough to where you can pull it out of your pocket in a fairly efficient manner if you needed to. But here's the problem. So we have this rounded area back here, and the bottom of the frame is right there. Now I actually have the retainer screw out of the grips here, and I put it back on here just so that you can see. So when I put my hand around the grip, as you can see, and this is for my trigger finger. This first notch here is for my second finger. The third notch there is for your third finger. And so when I have this in my hand, there, now you can see there is nothing for this for my pinky to grab onto. So with the 357 and it being such a powerful round, and I mean I don't have huge hands, but this is designed to be a concealable weapon. But I think they probably weren't thinking it completely through when, and maybe they were, and maybe this just gives you the option if you want to do this. But in my hands, whenever I fire this weapon, it just has this tendency. There's no beaver tail or anything up here, so it has this tendency to try to rock back in your hand. So it kicks back. And with 357, it's pretty violent. And then you have to grip it that much harder and hold on to it. And it ends up making your hand sore. So I'm on a quest for some better grips, preferably some that come down a little bit lower and even have just a little bit of a heel there. It might hinder its concealability a little bit, but for gaining control over a 357 round, I think that that's probably worth it. And I'm having a little bit of difficulty determining whether or not, and I'm not a real big Taurus guy, but like I said, this was a weapon that I got a deal on and I couldn't handle, or that I couldn't refuse, and now I can't handle it. So I've removed the grip here. So this is where it goes. And as you can see, the bottom of the frame of the hammer is literally right at the grip. And I know I can get some grips that come down a little bit further and they'll take up a little bit more space here and they'll give me more to hold on to. So I'm not so sure why they didn't incorporate something into the grip or something up here as a little bit more of a stoppage point. So for instance, and my Glock has a nice one. My 1911 has a much better, is a much better example, but because I carry this loaded. So here's my Glock 43X. It is clear, no magazine in the chamber, so we can safely handle this weapon. But if you notice right up here, see that, your little beaver tail? So when I have my hand in that weapon, I have good control over that. And now this is semi-automatic, and most of your energy is being absorbed by that slide when it cycles. But this is true with any. I mean, if you were dealing with a Desert Eagle 50 caliber, and it's well, it's gas impingement, so it's not quite as bad as it could be, but it's got a whole lot more kick. But anything that you can wedge your hand up underneath like that gives you more control. Now, also, if you'll notice when I have my hand in there and I put my hand around the grip, see my pinky? My pinky is able to actually get a little lip on the bottom of that, and then it's even enhanced a little bit when the magazine is in there. Now I really that really fills up my entire hand. So I have complete control over this firearm whenever I'm firing it. And that's one of the main reasons I ended up switching to that as my carry, to have a subcompact 9mm. I feel like I can control it really, really well. The 1911 is easy to control as well. It's just bigger and bulky. Um, but again, back to the Taurus. I'm not, a big Taurus fanboy. I'm not against them either. But so hopefully I'll be able to find me some decent grips. And I don't even really care if they're cherry wood or black or that sort of thing, because this is ultimately it's a backup gun or a gun, you might want to have in your nightstand or in a little safe by your nightstand, that sort of thing, to have at close range in a kind of grab and go type scenario. And with this being the concealed model, whatever. I don't know if you can see in there too. You got 5. There you go. This only holds 5, so it's a 5-shot instead of a 6-shot. Years ago, I think Smith and Wesson came out with the Lady 5-shot. It just made a little lighter pistol, and you could get that in 30. I think you could get that in 357 as well. But I know the one that my ex-wife has one, and hers is a Rossi, but it's modeled after the Lady Smith and Wesson. And I think I've done a video on that one as well when I was going over double action versus single action. But hers has the hammer on it, so it's a very similar style, shape, and everything. Just hers is only designed to accommodate that 38 special round. So it's kind of limited there. Hindsight being 2020. We probably should have got her a 357. It was just a little bit beefier, a little bit heavier, but always allowed for the additional. If you wanted to shoot the 357, you could. I didn't really pay too close attention to that until long after I was looking into wheel guns, and when I came across this one, this was like I said, a deal I couldn't really refuse. So it's a good. It's always good to have a wheel gun collection, or in your collection rather. And something besides, an old 22 long rifle type thing. I've got a couple of handguns that are not optimal for defense, or more for collector type, um, purposes. But I've kind of shifted everything to functionality. So every weapon in my arsenal, I want to have a purpose. It's whether it's a backup to another one, or I have one specifically for varmint hunting. I've got my AR-15. This is chambered in 5.56 223, just your standard AR-15, and it is clear, no magazine. But it has an 18-inch barrel, gives me a little better velocity, a little bit further reach. You don't want to spend much time deer hunting with this. The round is, your placement is too critical to try to deer hunt with that. You don't want to risk just wounding the hell out of the deer and then not being able to recover it. But for coyote, small raccoons, any of your small game is perfectly good for. And it's kind of amazing that this is the dreaded weapon that everybody freaks out about on the left. 223. It's literally a high-powered 22 caliber rifle. Funny, but the main purpose of this video was to show you. I think not a discrepancy, just something that I don't like about the Taurus Model 650. I think this holds true with the 605 as well. From what I'm reading, the 605 is basically this exact same model, but it has the hammer. And I don't have there's not a whole lot of information on the internet comparing them, but I can tell you that this is the, she hears me clicking my guns. Come here, Luna. Anytime I start clicking these, she wants to come up and say hi. So we'll just let her. Say hi, Luna. You're such a good little girl. But all the information that I can find in regards to the 650 it's basically a 605 with an internal hammer. And so I've got to learn a little bit more to learn about the Taurus and so forth, and hopefully I can find something that'll make it a little more comfortable to shoot. I'm not going to be shooting the 357 all the time. I don't have a problem with practicing with the 38 special, but if I'm going to be shooting it at all, I want a grip that's on there that's comfortable and that allows me the versatility of being able to shoot 38 special just as efficient as I can 357. And I've done the experiment where I've loaded every other round 357 38, and there's a dramatic difference, especially with this curve here in the back. It just has this tendency to try to rock back. So I need something, and I think if I can get about another 3/4 inch, I think on the bottom of that, and maybe even just a little bit of a flare, it might even look goofy, but I don't really care. I lost my love for a firearm does not really have to be aesthetically pleasant. Can I say that? I think I just did. Anyway, it doesn't have to just look good. It mainly has to function good. And I say this all the time. Glock, I am not a Glock fanboy. This gun, along with every other Glock, is ugly as a homemade soap. I really do not prefer but I can shoot it well. I can shoot it accurately. It goes bang every time I pull the trigger. So, it's, you know, with my 1911, I got both. I think there's beauty in the engineering. There's beauty in the presentation of my 1911. It's a real lovely gun. It's fun to carry. It's a conversation piece. I can't hardly conceal it. It's quite a bit bigger than anything else that I use. So if I do go out, sometimes it either prints or I have to carry it outside the belt. And but it ends up being a conversation piece. People are drawn to it. They really like it. It's a beautiful gun. And it's fully functional, balanced really well, shoots really good, goes bang every time you pull the trigger, so you can't really complain. The biggest difference, and I've made this point on those videos, the biggest difference and the reason why I choose to carry the Glock over my 1911 is for the capacity. So with and I think I went over that in that video as well. So here's your standard Glock mag with the polymer. You can see the reflection. Excuse me. You can see the reflection of metal. They put polymer over metal, and so you get 10 rounds. Or you can go to Shield Arms and get the S15, and you get literally the exact same dimension, except for this has 10 round capacity, this has 15. So you get 15 plus one in a subcompact. That's a no-brainer. With my 1911, it's 7 plus 1, or I think I actually have a magazine that will allow me to put 8, so 8 plus 1, a 45. But it does stick out a little bit at the bottom, and I'm not as worried about that as I am. I mean, literally, it's a no-brainer. 15 rounds, you carry one spare mag, and you've got 30 rounds. 30 rounds, and that's when I carried my 1911 on a regular basis. It was my 1911 plus a spare mag. And normally my spare mag was the 8 round. So 7 plus 1 in the standard, and then my backup magazine was the 8 plus 1, or 8, just 8. So you're looking at 15, 16 rounds as opposed to 30, and you don't have to reload in midstream with this. So yeah, no brainer, right? All right, well, that's pretty much all I wanted to go over, and I will do an update video when I find the grips that go well with my Taurus Model 650, and I may do a video installing them and seeing how they work, and we might even do a live fire video. We'll see what I can get away with on depending on which channel I upload this to. Anyway, see, was there anything else I wanted? And I guess next time I will try to have the 4 rules of firearms up on a banner that I'll show right after the reading the Second Amendment. Anyway, I appreciate everyone showing up to watch this. I hope you get something out of it. I enjoy making the videos, especially about the firearms and sharing what I know, and look forward to interaction with you potentially in the comments, or if you have the gumption to send me an email, it's real hard to get a hold of me. smatterchew@yahoo.com. That's I was surprised that wasn't taken at the time. I've only had that email a little while, but that is my email, and you can reach me there. So anyway, I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining me. I am Smatterchew, and I do approve of this message. Smatterchew out.